I heard my colleague's name. I said, okay, I will come because I knew that my colleague will do a good job of sending me to the right place. And today, when I sat on the dais, I looked at the composition of the people in the dais. I see science, society, culture, and spirituality. That is what should happen. When science, society, culture, and spirituality go hand in hand, you will see the prosperity in the region through the sustenance of natural resources. When I looked at what this Samsidh means, it means to be prepared. That means you are preparing the leaders of tomorrow through the quality education. That is what institution is supposed to do. And when I went through the report, what principal presented, I was really happy to see the emphasis is towards the learning than creating bookworms. That's what NEP talks about. And some of us were involved in the NEP. And we know the effort that has gone in to make to give the right education to the children of today who will be the leaders of tomorrow. Now, I said I work in Western Ghats and also I spent some time in Bangalore. I work with water bodies. I'm sure you all require water. Without water, no one can survive. No biological organism can survive. When I was doing research in Western Ghats, I see some region had plenty of water, whereas some locations there was a scarcity of water. That is where I told my students that we should look at the hydrological aspect and let us deploy the sensors to understand how the water gets into the system and how water is there in the system. You all would have studied the hydrological cycle or the water cycle. When it rains, the amount of the water that goes to the underground layer, that is the water that is available to all of us during the post-monsoon. But for the water to percolate in the region, the vegetation plays a very prominent role. When the landscape is covered with the vegetation of native species, I found the water bodies having water 12 months. Wherever the vegetation cover is removed, where the catchment is degraded, we found that water bodies have water only during the monsoon season. That is where I felt that our emphasis should be towards the rejuvenation of the system so that we will have the water security, so that children will have enough water. Now, to summarize what I said so far, when you cover Mother Earth with a green saree of native species, she retains the water so that we all have water for 12 months. When we convert that saree from native species to the synthetic saree of acacia, rubber, eucalyptus, she retains the water for 6 to 8 months. That means we lose water for 4 to 6 months. And when we degrade the catchment, with the vegetation cover less than 30%, she doesn't have the water during the post-monsoon. That is where the livelihood of the people also get affected. The water also has linkage with the livelihood of the people, because 65% of our country, the citizens, are the agrarian population. They need water for agriculture. And that is where sustaining the water is an important task all of us have to take up. Now, to sustain the water, if they have the water, they can grow the multiple crop. And our study shows that they earn about 1,54,000 rupees per acre per year. But when we degrade the catchment, the water is available only during the monsoon. 4 to 6 months, the farmers can grow only one crop. They will earn 32,000 rupees per acre per year. And more importantly, you look at how the pollinators plays a role. That is where we need to have the scientific insights in the management. Our study shows that wherever forests are there, where people are getting 12 months water, there are also pollinators which does a wonderful job of pollination. Because of that, yield of the crop is at least twice higher compared to the other region. For example, where forests are there, in the vicinity, the farmers grow paddy and their yield is about 14 to 18 quintal per acre compared to the other region where farmers struggle for water and their yield of the crop is only the 6 to 8 quintal per acre. This is mainly because of the presence and absence of pollinator that has made a role. That is where, when you look at the ecosystem, you need to respect all the constituents of the ecosystem. Now with that, let me bring you to the Bangalore. I always say the Bangalore is a dying city. The city of Bangalore is about 740 square kilometer. When I was a child, some of the children here that age, in 70s, we had 68% green cover and about 8% was under the building. And today, when I look at the kind of the growth that has happened in the city, 86% is under concrete and only 3% under vegetation. Because of that, groundwater recharge is not happening. And that's why the city faced a severe water crisis the last summer. 40% of our water requirement come from the groundwater resources, and since we have paved the surfaces, we have concretized the surfaces with the buildings and roads, etc., we didn't allow the groundwater recharge to happen. And also because of the changes in climate, there was a erratic rainfall in Kaveri and we didn't get enough water from the Kaveri. So that's where we paid a heavy price. You might ask, what is the solution for the Bangalore? Even today, if we wake up, we can regain the glory. And we have about 216 water bodies in Bangalore. And if we can maintain the water quality and sustain the water in the water body, we have solved the problem. You might ask, what is the proof? See, Saraki Lake was rejuvenated about 3 years back. I was a member of the committee. Within a year of the Saraki Lake rejuvenation, with the desilting, etc., we saw the groundwater table improvement by 320 feet. And now, after 3 years, when the major part of the city faced a water crisis and heat wave, in Saraki Lake, there was enough water and groundwater table was less than 500 feet. And because of that high moisture content, temperature in Saraki Lake area was at least 2 degrees lower compared to the city. Most part of the city was facing the water crisis and temperature problem, whereas Saraki Lake region didn't face a problem. That is because of the prevailing environment of maintaining the lake. That is what should happen. I coordinate a program, environmental education. I have a network of schools and colleges in Karnataka. One of the things I have done is the schools to take active part in the lake water quality monitoring and make sure that lake regains its the quality. We have been successful because of this children's involvement in rejuvenating the lakes in many parts of the Bangalore. Now the Vartur and Belandur Lake is being rejuvenated. I am part of that committee again as a part of the National Green Tribunal. And if you say that rejuvenation, you need to remove the silt that is there in the lake. When we did a study of the silt quality, we found that there is no contamination in the silt of Vartur Lake. We gave it to the farmers. The 400 acres farmers took the silt. After 3 months when I visited farmers, each farmer tells me they got a bumper crop and their revenue went up by 1,54,000 rupees per acre. That is how the science can give the benefit of the science to the society. Now let us look at the number of trees in Bangalore. We did the mapping of the trees and our study shows that we have 14,78,000 trees in Bangalore and population of the Bangalore is about 95 lakhs. That is a stable population. That means for every 7% there is one tree. You might ask, why do we require tree? That is the kind of the population we have in the city, especially the decision-making class. They do not even know why trees are required. The children would have studied the trees gives us oxygen during a photosynthesis. It removes the carbon. That means one of the service that is provided by the tree is providing the oxygen. Now let us see how many trees we require if that is the case. All of us breathe, and I am sure in this room all are breathing except chairs and tables. And when you breathe, you give out a carbon dioxide to an extent of 540 to 980 grams per person per day. The elderly people, 540 grams per person per day. The younger people, about a kg of carbon dioxide is given out per person per day. Now, the 1 hectare of tree removes the carbon to an extent of 6 to 9 tons. By that ratio, every person, we should have 7 or 8 trees. Now, when you look at this number, this is nothing, I didn't invent this number. This has been talked about in our scriptures. For example, Bible talks about the nature conservation at least 320 times. People have not read the Bible itself, but they go punctually to the church. Similarly, Quran talks of imminent war if you pollute the water bodies. That's why to bring the awareness among the people. In every good dargah, there is a well. People have to take the water from the well. They have to wash their feet and finger. Then only they can go to the dargah. They thought that if they practice in dargah, they will also practice at home and in the community. Look at our scriptures. Matsya Purana brings out beautifully the linkage between the water, children and trees. If you have well at home, you are wealthy. 10 wells are equal to 1 lake. 10 lakes are equal to 1 sarovar. 10 sarovar is equal to 1 child, and 10 children are equal to 1 tree. That means benefit of having 10 children you can have by planting and nurturing a tree. I'll put it other way. That's how I write an article. When people cut a tree, they murder their own 10 children. That's how I write it, to make it more effective. You might ask, what is the use of your writing? You people are from IISC, who will read? See, when I write an article in the local media, it has its own impact. When I wrote an article about 3 years back, one of the forest officers came to my office. When people come to my lab, I never talk to them immediately. I ask them to relax for a while. But I saw the tears in his eyes. When I saw the tears, I asked him, "Sir, what is happening? Why you have tears? My room is so bad." He said, "Your room is very good, but you are bad." Then I asked him, what is the reason? Then he pulled out an article what I had written. In this article, you have branded as murderers. When we cut a tree, it is equivalent to murdering 10 children. Now, I have to remove 179 trees in the road widening of Jaimal Road. If I do that, if I remove 179 trees, tomorrow you will write an article saying that I have murdered 1,790 children. If I don't do it, I lose the job. Then I felt very happy. The message has reached. I told him, see, the job is easier. Nearby there is a vacant land. Let us talk to them. Let us do the planting of at least 3 or 4 years old sapling in that area, and also think of transplanting. The moment he started doing, Bangaloreans supported. Then he called and told me. I said, every sensible action, the people support. That is what is required. So that is what is required. Now I'll try to end my talk with a small message to the children. Today's children have become the slaves of technology, especially the mobile. If you want to be successful, don't ever be a slave of any technology so that you will be successful. When you are not slave of technology, you will be leading a life compassionate and with humility, and there is empathy. And you will have happiness in your environment. The best way to get out of this slavery of technology is to spend more time with mother at home. When you respect mother at home, you will become highly successful in your career. And when you respect mother at home, you will also respect Mother Earth. When you respect Mother Earth, nobody abuses Mother Earth, I'll have prosperity everywhere. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to propagate through my writings and talks, etc. Thank you very much for giving an opportunity.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring and insightful thoughts.